All right, you're going to want to hear this one. We're about to break down one of the most insane financial comeback stories I've ever come across. Seriously, it's a journey from absolute rock bottom to a massive net worth, all before the age of 30.
$7 million. That's the number at the center of it all. But how in the world does somebody get there from nothing? Well, that's the real story, isn't it? And let me tell you, it's not a straight line. It's a wild ride of huge risks, soul-crushing failures, and then a total breakthrough in thinking. The guy at the center of all this, his name is Craig Percoco. And no, he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. In fact, it was the complete opposite. He felt trapped, like his future was already mapped out for him and it was just kind of average. So what happened? What was the spark that just changed everything? So let's rewind. To really get how this story ends, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Before the millions, there was just a kid who felt like he was running into a brick wall before his life had even really started. Craig talks about this feeling of being kind of programmed to play it safe. You know the drill. Go to school, get a good job, fit in, don't rock the boat. But deep down, he wanted something extraordinary. It felt like the world had put this invisible glass ceiling over his head, telling him just how high he was allowed to climb. And then, bam, reality hit. And it hit hard. In 2014, his family lost their home. That comfortable bubble he was living in just popped. And in that moment, he realized a terrifying truth. He had zero safety net. No one was coming to rescue him. That sheer desperation drove him to join the military, which, funny enough, gave him some downtime and a little bit of savings. And that's when he stumbled onto the one thing that would change his life forever: investing. And his first big investment move? Well, he'll be the first to tell you it was a completely ridiculous, terrible idea. He found this one company, got a gut feeling it was about to be bought out, and he just went for it. I'm talking every single dollar he had, plus money he borrowed, all dumped into one single stock. Talk about putting it all on the line. And the crazy part? It worked. I mean, it really worked. He made $4,000 a day for 2 days straight. That's more than most people make in a whole month. And right there, that was it. You could almost hear the click as the light bulb went off in his head. This idea just completely rewired his brain. All of a sudden, he understood. Money doesn't have to equal time. You don't have to trade hours for dollars. For the first time, he saw a path. A blurry one for sure, but it was a path to shattering that glass ceiling for good. But here's the thing about that first big win. It was just the beginning. The road ahead was going to be long and brutal. He had conviction now, sure, but the world was about to test it in the most painful ways you can imagine. So what does he do? He drops out of college after just one semester. Can you just imagine that conversation, telling your family who just lost their home that you're quitting school to trade stocks? He said he walked in the door and his grandmother just immediately melted down in tears. The pressure must have been immense. And from there, things just got worse. He got fired from 2 different jobs. He made one bad trade and poof, his entire account was gone. Wiped out. People he knew started mocking him, saying stuff like, "Hey, I thought you dropped out to get rich. Looks like all you do is lose money." It got so bad that even his family life started to crumble. This was rock bottom. So he's at the absolute bottom. But, sometimes when you're at the bottom, you have the clearest view. The COVID market crash happens, and everyone else is panicking. Total chaos. But Craig, he'd already lost so much. So instead of fear, he saw pure opportunity. He read the Bitcoin white paper, and it just clicked. He knew he was looking at something revolutionary. And he didn't just dip a toe in. He went all in. Get this, just 6 months after he was literally working as a waiter to make ends meet, he's sitting in a coffee shop in Lisbon. And over 3 days, he makes $500,000, $500,000. The high from that must have been absolutely unbelievable. And almost as fast as it came, it started to disappear. He was literally on the plane flying home from that incredible trip when the entire crypto market just began to implode. Think about this. At his peak, his net worth was nearly $1.7 million. After the crash and a disastrous bet on a crypto called Luna, he was left with just $300,000. All that work, gone. And everyone, CPAs, financial advisors, they were all in his ear, telling him he was crazy, that he needed to sell everything and get out. With this is the real turning point of the whole story. Most people would have quit, thrown in the towel. But he didn't. He remembered what it felt like to have nothing. And he realized that old saying, buy when there's blood in the streets, that's when the real money is made. So he made a decision. No more gambling. It was time to build a system. This is the moment the gambler became a strategist. He built his entire approach on two powerful systems. First, he professionalized his trading. No more gut feelings. He focused on just two key numbers, his winning percentage, simply how often his trades were profitable, and his risk-to-reward ratio. Basically, for every $1 he risked, how many did he stand to gain? The second system was all about mastering the big picture. He zoomed out and learned to read Bitcoin's historical cycles, creating a simple but powerful plan. Buy when the data shows everyone is terrified, and sell when the data shows everyone is greedy. And a huge piece of that second system was learning to look at the charts differently. Instead of the chaotic day-to-day scribbles, he looked at Bitcoin on a logarithmic scale. Now, that sounds fancy, but all it means is you're looking at percentage moves, not dollar moves. And when you do that, all that crazy price action, it just smooths out into this clear, predictable, upward channel. He saw the pattern everyone else was missing in the noise. So now he's armed with a real strategy, one that was literally forged in the fires of his own failure. He was ready to get back in the market, but this time it wasn't a gamble, it was a calculated plan.
He just knew too much at this point to listen to all the scared advice. He understood the massive advantage you have when you have conviction while everyone else is panicking. So while the world was running for the hills, he was buying. He was picking up assets like Solana for $30 when everyone else was screaming, sell.
And that right there, that's the core psychological shift. He stopped operating with scared money, where every decision is about survival and fear of loss. He built a system that secured his baseline future, which completely freed him up to think with an abundance mindset, focusing purely on smart, calculated opportunities. And the results? Well, they were just staggering. From the bottom of that market, his new systematic approach delivered a 7 to 8 times return on his portfolio. And that is what catapulted him to that $7 million net worth. You know, his whole journey really leaves us with this powerful piece of wisdom. His biggest failures came when he was trying to get rich quick. His ultimate success came from building a system and having the patience to see it through for the long haul. So as we wrap up this incredible story, it leaves us with one final thought. Craig's whole journey began because he felt trapped by a glass ceiling of expectations. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the invisible ceiling in your life that might be holding you back right now? And what would it take to finally break through it?